So, welcome guys to the Vermillion Unplugged, and it's actually a special episode. So I don't want to say it's brought to you by the VCDC. They don't pay me. I swear they don't. I wish they did. If they want to, it's all cool. But usually some of my folks that I grab, I usually talk about, hey, what do you guys do, or this and that. But this one's gonna be focused on the Vermillion, or Vermillion Grow Vermillion, the campaign. I apologize. I'm going this really, really blind. I don't want to be biased on it, but I want to go around the table. So, who are y'all, and what do you guys do?
Yeah, thanks, Jose. My name's Taylor Kathol. I'm a banker for CorTrust Bank. Been living in Vermillion for going on just over 6 years now. I've had the opportunity through my role at the bank to be pretty heavily involved with the chamber really since moving to town. It's been a great experience, and I'm just happy to be a part of Grow Vermillion.
I am Veronica Schmidt. I'm the CEO at Sanford Vermillion Medical Center. I am also a VCDC board member, along with being the co-chair with Taylor and Joe Hoos on this Grow Vermillion campaign. I previously lived in Vermillion before returning here about 3 years ago. And so Vermillion has always been home to me. And I knew that if I ever got back here, I knew that I would want to serve in any way that I could to continue to invest in this community. It's done a lot for me and my family. And so that's important to me that we look at how do we make this an even better place to live.
Sweet. So I say this, I swear to, I say this every single episode. I'm pretty sure everyone's annoyed, but it's relevant, especially to the Vermillion part. So I'm from, as I say every episode, I'm from Texas. I'm from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We came here in September 2020. It was during that COVID stuff. I won't go too much into detail, but I just graduated. I had my wife, or she wasn't my wife yet, but I had my kid. Couldn't find a job for some reason. I graduated. I got a good job, or the job I wanted at this like pharmaceutical biotech, whatever thing. Lasted like 2 weeks. I don't know why. So I started applying everywhere. Let me apply in the Dallas area. Let me apply in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Let me apply in Texas. And then for some reason, I was like, all right, this is not working. Let me apply everywhere in the U.S. And I swear I had like 300 job applications. I was applying. And then the University of South Dakota, they called me up. Now, I don't remember applying at the USD, so I apologize, to Dr. Wong. But I had the interview, everything went good, and then they're like, hey, you got it. Be here, I think, in 3 weeks. And I was like, sweet. I was so excited. But I was like, wait, where's South Dakota at?
Where is this?
I didn't know where it was at first. I never traveled outside, I traveled outside the country, but I never traveled like outside of my state, except Oklahoma, because that's where the casino is, but WinStar. So, we got up here, everything was cool. I didn't look into Vermillion too much. I was very scared, especially when we were driving up here. I saw a bunch of farmland. I'm like, man, dude, I should have just Googled where this is, because I saw it's not a city, it's a small town. And I was like, at first it was like 10,000 people. I was like, 10,000 people? Man, what is it just like in the movies, like just one little traffic lights? But we got here, and it's a wonderful place. Now, me and my wife work at USD. The schools are cool. Speaking of the CorTrust in Sanford, so Russell, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know Russ.
Yeah. So he was a great friend. He's also from Texas, so he knows the area. So, that's where I got CorTrust, and he helps us with the insurance. And with Sanford, right now where we currently live, we live in one of those apartments, but it's right next to Sanford, right in front of Prentice Park, and we live like right in the corner. So like hospital or going to like the doctor, it's like it's convenient, especially, bank, downtown, hospital. I'm like, this stuff is close. Vermillion's it's a very different town. But, well, what do you guys think about it? Like, how?
Vermillion's a hidden gem, the chamber's been doing a really good job of promoting the city of Vermillion and just getting the image and the feel for the community out there. I'm from a small town. I grew up in a town of 1,600 people. I graduated with 30 kids in my class. I appreciate a community feel, but like you said, Vermillion's 10,000 people. The university adds another 10 in undergrad, so you have the amenities and the opportunities that you find in a bit of a larger town, in a smaller community where you're going to recognize people wherever you go. You're going to have people to sit down with and talk to and just wish a good day. It's a very unique environment that you find yourself in here that I feel like just provides a lot of opportunity for growth. Because, being in a smaller town, I guess there's more responsibility to ensure that you're involved and continuing to progress that town forward. And through those opportunities you're provided, there's multiple resources that you can go about to kind of just shape it however you like, regardless of whether you're interested in fine arts, if you're interested in sports, if you're interested in outdoor recreational activities. All of that is very, very possible here in Vermillion. And I truly believe if more people did know about it, it would grow pretty quickly. So that's kind of what the chamber, I believe, is trying to accomplish. Get the image of Vermillion, get the environment, get the atmosphere out there. And I think the hard work will do itself once people truly understand how nice of a community it is to live in.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts, Veronica?
Ditto.
Same
Truly.
thing.
Truly, I mean, there's a uniqueness to living in a university town, and not just a university town, but a small town. I have always worked in rural healthcare, and what's beautiful about Vermillion and my career working here is that we have resources that other small community hospitals do not. And that's in workforce, the amenities that attract workforce. So it is exactly as Taylor said, that you can, if you want to do something here, it's here. It's accessible. It's very, it's got the amenities of, the university brings in national speakers. We have D1 athletics that we can walk to almost any night of the week. If you want to go see almost a professional type play, that's available to us. So it really is a draw for a diverse population, and it's just fantastic to continue to see what Vermillion can do.
This is a perfect example, and we're just talking a little about it before. So my parents right now, they're in town, and like I said, they're also they're from Mexico, but they've been in the Fort Worth area forever in Texas. So they come visit me or visit us, several times a year, maybe once or twice a year. And they always lived in the city. Before that in Mexico, it's like small towns, but still it's not, I think Vermillion's much more smaller, but they enjoy it. They do love it, especially my mom, because over there you don't really have the four seasons. So right now, whenever this is aired, it's like fall, the color is changing. My mom's outside taking a bunch of pictures because they don't have it over there. But my dad also loves how small the community is. It feels like a community. One thing that he said, I don't know if it's like a Midwestern thing, but a lot of people, like how you're saying, like, everyone knows each other. They say hi. We're driving and people just say hi, and they wave their hand. And my dad was like, "Do you know?" I'm like, just wave back. They should be. I don't know who they are, but everyone's all nice. But I always ask them, like, "Do you guys like it?" Like, yeah. I said, "But would you ever move?" They said not. They said no, but it's because they're a little more. They're more older. They're accustomed to it. But they say it's a great place, especially for families. It's a safe place. And one thing, I don't want to compare it too much to the city, but it's an advantage. It's an advantage that Vermillion has. When we got here, one thing that surprised me and my wife. So first, my wife saw the windows, and this was like a cultural thing. She's like, "Hey, the windows don't have bars." I'm like, yeah, they don't really have bars. But one thing that did surprise me though, when I saw the garages open, like in the daytime and nighttime, I was like, "Why are the garages open?" Like a bunch of them. I was like, "Man, aren't they afraid someone's gonna steal?" But it's a nice, safe place. I like it. I like the town.
Yeah. I would say that there is some diversity in Vermillion. I think the diversity is probably growing. Obviously, the university helps with that, bringing individuals from all across the world really into our community. but I would say just the welcoming and the openness and the people willing to just bring you in and learn about you, because ultimately I think a lot of people come to this town to grow. And that's a good play on the name of our campaign, but it's the ultimate truth. You know, the majority of people that come to this town are looking to enhance their lives. And I think that they find, and hope, you know, some of them do leave and go on and do their own thing, but then hopefully they kind of find some value in the time that they've spent in Vermillion, and then they'll come back. But I feel like it's an opportunity, especially to be inviting throughout whoever you might meet, well, let alone just learn something from them or something about part of where they come from that you didn't know. But it plays on that people are coming to town to enhance their lives and be able to either leave or stay improving.
And Veronica, how long have you been at Sanford?
I've been at Sanford twice. So I started my career here when I graduated from USD and worked for Sanford for 16 years. And then I left for 10 and then came back 3 years ago to be the CEO.
Have you noticed like a difference or a growth with Sanford in town? Because for me, it seems surprising compared to like other smaller towns, because they don't really have like a Sanford hospital, and you guys do. And I see like also you guys are always hiring. Have you noticed like a growth in that area?
Yes, because we have continuing to maintain the services and grow services there. Even more so, I've seen the changes in Vermillion and the development and the growth that has occurred in Vermillion to meet the needs of the student population and to, again, attract. So certainly our healthcare system is extremely important to continuing to attract people to move to Vermillion. But the things that the VCDC is working on through the Grow Vermillion campaign works wonderfully for any employer in town to attract talent and workforce. Housing, childcare are not unique problems to Vermillion. We continue to identify that we don't have the housing inventory for not only the current but also future needs. So I think what's unique to Vermillion is how we are approaching it. Vermillion has always been great about coming together to solve a problem. And VCDC and being a part of this Grow Vermillion campaign is just one example of how, if you look at the list in the brochure that we have, a cross-section of Vermillion leaders that represent basically every entity across our county that is interested in investing in the future of Vermillion.
So let's talk about that campaign, and I want you guys to give me some details. So if people are listening in, what is this campaign about?
Well, I think that ultimately the biggest thing is just making sure that we have opportunity and resources mostly just to create opportunity in the future. You know, as Veronica said, housing is an issue. I can't tell you the exact statistic, but I know that it's a high commuter town. So that means that people that work in Vermillion don't necessarily live here. I think a lot of that has to do with housing inventory. It also has to do with the cost of housing in our community. So you know, when the inventory of homes is lower than the demand, obviously that's going to shoot the price of the home up. On you know, certain incomes, that makes it difficult to overpay for a place. So I think that with Grow Vermillion, the ultimate goal is to hopefully be able to provide, obviously, opportunity, housing, healthcare, and then recreational activities as well. But by starting this campaign and continuing to call upon people to donate, whether that's monetary, whether that's through time, whatever resource that you have that you're available to provide, it gives an individual an opportunity to invest in the community, feel like they're involved, and just continue to work Vermillion forward and be sure that we're successful moving forward.
Yeah, and then I'll talk about the housing thing right now. So I've been getting, it's not inside info. I think a lot of people already know about it, but that was one thing I always wondered too. I was like, man, it's a nice place, But at first, when the beginning, now it's kind of getting a little better. There was like a kind of like we were saying, like shortage of housing. Now we got Bliss Point, that one's popping up, and then now we got the stuff that's going on in Jolly. I remember talking with Jose Dominguez about it. So plans are, I think they're trying to do like 12 lots, 12 houses, hopefully. And then if people realize, over there right behind, we're close to Ace Hardware Store behind Hex Barbecue, that area. They're going to develop some, I believe, townhomes or condominiums, 32 or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, and then also Betty Smith, if people know her, she's on the Clay County Commission. I think this is her last year. She was telling me that she had some ideas. She just doesn't know where, if I remember right. But she also wants to develop a bunch of townhomes, and it'll be like kind of more like a tighter community. But I think she was saying the same thing, like around 30. So it's there. And there are also some developments like, the ones that I was talking about. There's a development right across Walmart. There's some other housing over there. I forgot that Jack Powell edition.
Correct.
So it's popping up. So hopefully, but like how you're saying, usually if there's more, if you got more supply than demand, usually the housing should be, a little more cheaper. But if there isn't enough housing, or we're not emphasizing more on building, then you get that shortage and it's tough. Then people are like, hey, well, then I don't want to, they might work at USD. Because I didn't know this. Like, there's a bunch of professors, because I work at the med school. They live in Sioux Falls. And I remember asking a few, I was like, you don't like it here? And they're like, yeah, we do. Of course they do. But they just said, like, either they can't find, like, the right house or the right size or even, like, the right price. You say it's just, I'd rather just drive an hour. I can't find anything. Or, like, it's a tricky thing. You feel me?
It is tricky, and it's also personal preference too. Certainly, if you have certain housing needs for a large family or something, there's certainly decisions that go into that. One thing that VCDC wants to make sure that we're being mindful of through this campaign and the direction that it's going is making sure that we're focused on all price levels of housing, so that we're being inclusive with anybody that wants to live here and own a home. So looking at opportunities for, I don't want to say affordable housing. I think that term gets used too much and nobody really knows what that level is. And affordable to person A versus person B is very different. So definitely want to make sure that the housing selection it opens up for a large base of individuals.
And I think you're seeing that too with the housing projects that are going on right now. There's a lot of diversity in just what those projects are looking to accomplish. Like you mentioned, the Jolly School opening up for 13 lots. That's a mature neighborhood. That's an established neighborhood where those homes are going to be, I don't know. I don't want to say that it's a covenant. It might be a covenant. I know that they're supposed to meet the aesthetic of the neighborhood, but they're also going to be smaller lots, which is going to limit you on size. So, you're going to have a brand new modern home that has a historic feel to it in a very mature and established neighborhood. Now, where those price points fall, I can't speak to, but you're talking about a different type of demographic that's going to be interested in a home like that compared to a home that's maybe going out at the Jack Powell edition, where those homes specifically are designated as affordable housing. The goal of those homes over there is to be able to provide a price point that is attainable by an entry-level employee or somebody who's starting to look for their first home, to get them into a place that they can call home and make their own. And with Bliss Point 2 wrapping up, I believe there's like 18 lots over there. A lot of those homes over there were the townhome feel, with hopefully a price point that's kind of like the middle ground for a lot of people. So I think with the projects that we have in the works currently, there is some diversity, and hopefully we're able to meet multiple price points so that people are able to find a home that works for them.
Yeah, just having like different choices. Like you were saying, maybe someone wants, let's say they want like, a nice big home for a big family or something like that. Or someone's like just single. Like, I want my own house. I don't want to rent. I just want something, just a little smaller. Or like nowadays, there's a bunch of students come and go, and it's grown. Like with the students, man, that stuff is racking up. I remember talking with President Gestring. She, like the enrollment it's growing. I think it's also a good thing. I know before that I was talking with some locals. Some were like, some were like, yeah. But I guess it does help because, USD. Well, actually, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit because it's gonna go with like the employment and workforce. So a lot of people, well, speaking where I work at, a lot of these grad students, a lot of them, I asked them, I say, because right before they graduate, after they've done their 5 or 6 years for their PhD, I say, hey, where are you guys going? And they're like, well, we're applying, somewhere in the city, Minneapolis, Omaha, or something like that, or it could be farther. I'm like, you guys don't like it here? They're like, of course we like it. Like, you guys want to stay? I'm like, yeah, we do, but there's no like, I guess like an industry job for them, let's say, and also like if they want to be a postdoc, there's only so many positions at USD. So it's a shame too. One thing, I talk about this all the time, because, for example, here at Vermillion, we got the only med school, I believe the only law school, and I think it's the only business school, if people could correct me. But I know the first two, it's like the only one, especially with the med school. So I know doctors or med students, they'll always like mostly leave, but where I work, so it's a lot of research. Smart people, these students are smart. I always wondered, I said, hey, or I even asked them in my previous lab, I said, hey, would you guys stay if, let's say there was like a pharmaceutical company or a biotech company, something like that. Would you guys stay and do it? They're like, yeah, of course we would. I'm like, hey, technically they got the training because I've worked at one before and I see like, I see what the requirements, these guys are already trained technically. That's why they're going places. I'm like, hey, if someone opened up or a big biotech company came into Vermillion, you got those people, you got those students that will stay and it'll attract. So that it was just, what I'm trying to say is like, also if we could help, also attract those like, industries or you guys kind of understand? Yeah.
Yep.
I think, so if you're going to attract companies, industries, stuff like that, you got to have the workforce, right? Mm-hmm. So you touched on that with the university. We have a lot of talent continually coming out of that university every year. You got to have, it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? Like you got to have a combination of things here where housing, workforce development, and industry is all there. I think the chamber has a lot of ideas on how we're going to accomplish that. Obviously, if people don't have a place to live, you run into the situation that we're in now with the commuter. I feel like we've been talking through that quite a bit here. But it truly is a situation where you need to have everything kind of there for it to take place, for it to unfold. And they obviously the issues have been identified, right? Mm-hmm. Now we're in that planning stage. We're continuing to work through steps that we've set forth to be able to accomplish these goals. I truly feel like, hopefully 5-10 years down the road, we're able to do something with this campaign that truly does take a step forward, maybe even multiple steps forward, where we're able to look back and be like, okay, that was a success. Let's try to mirror that and continue to move on this momentum going forward. So I think that's the important thing, is that we've identified things that we need to do. Now we have steps in place on how to accomplish some of those things. Now it's just, continuing to work through those and making sure that we're showing up every day and making sure that that's taking place.
Mm-hmm. What are you seeing, Veronica, too?
So, yeah, what it really speaks to is so much interdependence, right, of so many services in our community that makes it successful to attract and really land talent. We experience quite a bit at the hospital where they've chosen to be here, they've landed the job that they worked so hard to get educated for, and now the next question is, where am I going to live? And we want to get a point where certainly that is not ever seen as a barrier in Vermillion. And then if they're a family, the next question is, what about childcare? And in Vermillion, there's a great deal of work happening. Grants have been awarded to continue to develop childcare opportunities. And what's interesting about a town the size of Vermillion is that you get one childcare provider that discontinues providing services. That has a huge impact on our smaller community. So someone who is taking care of 10 children now has impacted 10 families and possibly 10, maybe 20 employers. So it's got a rippling effect. So those are the kind of reasons why it's so important that a community come together to work on these identified issues.
And you're right. And also speaking of the childcare stuff, because also I think because the VCDC is doing a good job on what I see, like promoting, for example, the childcare stuff. I think one thing that a lot of people, I guess they are not even, I don't think it's not like they're not paying attention. I guess they're just not looking at the right place. Because before that, because I have a daughter, she's 9, and before that, a few years ago, she was younger. It's like, man, where are we gonna? Because when my wife started working at USD, like, where are we gonna put her? Then we found out, I don't know how we found out, Boys and Girls Club, so they popped in. And also there's, I guess some people know, but I do, hopefully this reaches out to a lot of people. We got also Red and Gold and St. Agnes. Also the new one is Pulse of Light. And there's a few more that are popping up. So, because that's another thing that I talk to these new professors that are coming into town, and they ask me these questions. Hey, I got your back. So now I tell them, hey, there's also this. So they probably just see one thing, like for example, the Boys and Girls Club. And I know that sometimes they'll have like an attendance or like a limit, but that's not their only option. Hopefully that you could have more options, or if it could be like for like toddlers or little kids. Also, USD has one too, or maybe there's another person that does it for toddlers or this and that. So hopefully there's more options. Same thing like with the housing. Hopefully you got options for if you want to rent, if you want something cheaper, if you want basic, this and that. And also hopefully we could bring in more of that workforce type of thing, because there's not a lot of different type of jobs here. But I know the bigger employees like USD, of course. I think after that is it Sanford, or it's one of the top 3? I know it's like Walmart, but I know Sanford is one of the top.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, but a lot of people that I talk to, they always say, what do you guys want? Not to shop. They're like, I wish we had like just more jobs, but like more of the industry jobs. A lot of these people that I've talked to, they work with their hands. They wish there was like maybe another type of like masaba or this and that. That's what I always wondered too. It's super strange because, like you were saying, Taylor, Vermillion's a hidden gem. This is how I see it. So you got Vermillion. To the left, you got Yankton. To the right, you got Sioux City. To the north, you got Sioux Falls. To the south, a little more farther, you got Omaha. I'm like, hey, we're like in the middle. Like we gotta bang on this stuff. Like it's a nice small town, but I see that potential. Yes.
Yep.
You guys feel me?
Yeah. I think the potential is the thing that we're kind of working off of. Is there is a ton of potential, and I think no matter who you talk to in the community, everybody sees it, right? So I think that's ultimately what we're just promoting is, hey, there is a lot of opportunity here, and we need to take the steps now to ensure that the next generation, they have different issues that they're able to continue to work on. That way that it's just a flourishing town. And I think that's really what we're working off of with this Grow Vermillion campaign is we're looking to take advantage of that potential and put us in a place where down the road we're able to look back and be like, that was good work.
And that proximity keeps us on our toes, right? Because we have got competition for that workforce. We're not an isolated, smaller town. We have got people that have the ability to commute, and they may choose to do so. So how do we make Vermillion attractive for employers to choose to run their business here and then have the workforce to do so?
I'm going to go a little off topic. So why are both of y'all still in Vermillion?
That's a good question. I moved to Vermillion after graduating college. I grew up in a small town just south of here across the river. I felt like when I graduated college, I wanted to move back home, kind of, but I didn't want to be in Hartington. Hartington, Nebraska is where I was at, or where I grew up. And solely just because I felt like I liked the small community, but I also liked the amenities. So I was looking, and, I spent a lot of time in Yankton growing up. I spent a lot of time in Sioux City growing up. spent some time in Sioux Falls, and everything like that, but I never really felt like any of those three communities fit me well. But I hadn't spent a lot of time in Vermillion. My dad went to school here. We very seldomly visited though, and I did not grow up far away. So I really didn't know anything about it. The first weekend, I believe, after moving to town was like ribs, rods, rock and roll.
Yeah.
And it was a great weekend, like people bring in their hot rods. There's barbecue pits on Main Street. The downtown is just filled with the smell of barbecue, live music, everybody's having fun. And I was like, all right, this is a place that I could see myself living in. And it's just been, it's been a true blessing to be a part of a place that, like we've already established, is so welcoming. Truthfully, I feel like everybody's looking out for you in a way. People are very, very happy to see you all the time. And it's just a community feel that I really appreciate with the amenities that keep you busy. So that's what keeps me in Vermillion. It's been a blessing.
What about you, Veronica? Why did you return to Vermillion?
I graduated USD and started my career at Sanford Vermillion. And I would say that my story is probably not as unique as I like to think it is, because Vermillion develops people, and Vermillion an influx of impressionable brains and hearts, right, every fall, for people that are starting a new chapter in their life. And so I started my career here. I built relationships here, and I would say that I returned because of relationships. When I was a young professional and very impressionable, I had really great mentors here, and I was able to continue education here while I was working full time and just continue to develop, continue to grow. And then at some point decided for a career move that I needed to move and get experience elsewhere. And so was gone for 10 years. It was always, I'd like to think, and I know my husband and I talked about it quite a lot, we would retire in Vermillion because we're huge Coyote fans. We lived 10 years away, but we still held season tickets and we came back no matter how far we lived, as much as we could to attend the events. And so it was kind of a no-brainer that we would come back here for hopefully to retire here. And it just so happened that worked out. And it has always been home to me. My kids were born here. All of my kids have attended the university. Three kids, 2 have graduated. 1 is currently attending. And it met my husband here. I mean, my roots are here.
And this is what brings me to the next topic. So now I got the brochure up. So now I'm keeping up with the community stuff. So this was the plan when I got here. We were thinking, I'll work at USD. I'll get the experience for 1 year, and we'll get out of here and go back home. And apparently we've been here, like 4 years?
Yeah, that's not uncommon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it is. They trap you.
It gets you. Yeah.
But I do like it. And I'll be the first one to say, I used to complain a lot because I was like, man, this place is small. There's nothing to do here, this and that, until you're like, okay, there is a lot of stuff to do here sometimes. One thing, though, I did complain. Now I don't, because I think this fits the aspect of the hidden gem. Because me, my family, and with a lot of international students, it's very, very hard to find like our ingredients. Now, for me, for being Hispanic, not anymore. Thanks to that Walmart renovation, they started adding more of the Hispanic food. So I'm like, oh, okay. So now we still go, but we don't have to go to the Sioux City to get our stuff. We can head there. But I told this to my wife. I was like, man, this is annoying. I hate driving 40, 45 minutes. Now I love it. But she said, hey, the good thing, you head to Sioux City or you head to Sioux Falls, this and that. But then you come home and you're back in a small, your small town, safe. There's no traffic. I could go to work like in 5 minutes. I head to the bank, CorTrust sponsor, Sanford sponsor. It's all cool. Like it's very neat. And it's that community aspect. And speaking of like the ribs rods, I know some people do complain about it. I talked to some of them or with the ribs rods, but it's the community that is trying to grow that. I was talking to same thing with Amy Schweinley about the Clay County Fair. I was like, hey, how do we make it grow? And they're like, they're trying their best to grow it. They got plans. Hopefully they'll get the acres, but same thing they were saying. They're like, it's just money. Like, hopefully we get some people to donate or more people to be involved, because I get a little bit competitive. Like we were saying, we got our competitors, one of them is like Brookings. I know I did a podcast with the president and CEO of Brookings Chamber. She was cool, but we were like discussing some of the differences. But I went to Brookings and I was like, man, it's a nice place, but I think we're better. We are not better, but I'm like, we gotta we could beat them. I want to.
We'll see, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, this Saturday.
Game on Saturday, yo.
Well, are you guys fans of USD sports?
Oh, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. What sports do you guys like watching?
Oh, I'm
all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, whichever one's playing tonight, I guess. Yeah.
So a cool thing these past few years. So I've never been to a college, especially Division I football game. I've never been to a Cowboy game. They keep losing for some reason, so I turned into a Chiefs fan. But anyways, this is the first time we watched football in a stadium, college, and it's like the experience is great. The homecoming's awesome, making the parade, this and that. And then last year we got into the women's basketball team because I don't know, you guys know Grace Larkins? Yeah. So she's in our community group. I didn't know she played basketball all this time. Every week she's with us eating, and we started watching. I'm like, these girls play hard. And then a few weeks ago, we finally went to a volleyball game. I'm like, man, they play hard too. Like, it's a neat thing because I know back home, like to go to a college game, first the traffic, like 20, 30 minutes. And then, you don't get to interact with a lot of these people. It's kind of cool though, especially in a small community because it's very like diverse and you get to meet new people. Like same thing like community groups. So you got like athletes that are we're eating with. Sean is one of the new USD men's basketball coach. I'm like, oh snap, he's here. And then there's another guy like also at Sanford, Ryan Mollenkamp. He's the PT there. Yep. Got Russell, from back home from Texas. You got all these like melting pot of people in town. I think that's one of the things that attracts people with that. I think that basically that's why I'm here and I'm not leaving.
Yeah, those sporting events are great opportunities to meet people in the community that you wouldn't necessarily see otherwise. I think you'll find that most people in our community are sports fans, regardless of whether it's basketball, volleyball, football, whatever. If you spend enough time at those games, you will get opportunities to meet many, many people in the community who play important roles, and that's just an opportunity for you to network and kind of build your friend group. So.
True. Are those season tickets worth it, Veronica?
Oh, they are absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
Some of our family's greatest memories are because of USD athletics.
It's fantastic. And another thing, I'm going a little off topic, but like when we were watching the men or the women's basketball, Russell, he had some tickets for it's the CorTrust.
Oh, at the CorTrust Club there?
Yeah,
right on the floor.
Yeah, he had some extra tickets.
He got you in?
Yeah, he invited me because my daughter is a Grace Larkins fan, and we went there. I was like, oh, this stuff is kind of cool. Like, or I don't think I would have been there without knowing, Russell and knowing it, like that networking. Like, you get to.
The facilities at our university are pretty difficult to match, and I think there's a lot of people that invested a lot of time and money into those, and they really are. They're beautiful places to watch a sporting event, and for you to have that opportunity to watch the game right there on the floor, that's exciting. I'm glad you were involved,
and it's great too because again, young families, right? So those young kids are looking over, in the grocery store, and there's a local celebrity that they just watched play basketball or maybe hit the game-winning shot last night. So that's what's fantastic about Vermillion is, you have these people that you saw that work very hard at what they do and got to see them win something last night, and the kids just think that's awesome.
One thing, man, I'm going way off topic. I'm gonna talk about a little story with Grace Larkins because since she's like, top basketball player. One of at the community group we go to, our neighbors, they're the ones running, they got kids, and they talk about Grace Larkins at school, and a lot of the kids, they watch, USD sports, And they're like, oh, you know, Grace Larkins, you know her, this and that. And I don't know, one of them, I don't want to say his name, I'll be in trouble, but he's like, yeah, she sits on my couch and she eats on this table with me and this and that. I'm like, oh, it's that. And then one of them also, the daughter brought her for show and tell, and they were describing how like all the kids, they're like, and then also like I think a few weeks ago they had like a little women's basketball camp, and then you know they're up there and there's some girls you know asking autographs and this and that, and then well my daughter knows her, and then you know she goes for a hug and you can see the kid. Oh, I saw the kids are like, oh, well, let's see like all that in a little community. It's
Right.
it's cool.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of it.
Now, I know we might run out of time, but I'll bounce on this with the community stuff. Is there some things that y'all guys want or wish there was in Vermillion? I know some people say Taco Bell. I don't know why, but I don't not like that. But like, is there some stuff that you're like, oh, hopefully we get something like this or that?
You know, I think the chamber's done a really good job of kind of expanding the offerings, I guess, for events and different things going on. You know, they brought back Oktoberfest this year, which was a ton of fun right there at the end of September. And they brought it back in good fashion. You know, there were Stein holding competitions, tractor pulls, you know, all kinds of stuff going on. People dressed in authentic clothing and wardrobe. It was a lot of fun. And they've done a good job of including the local businesses, the local key players, to make sure that these events are successful. You know, so is there anything in particular that I want to speak on that I'd like to see? I don't know that there is, but if I would recommend to anybody that's watching this, if they do have ideas, bring them to the chamber. You know, that's what the chamber's here for, is to enhance the life of Vermillionaires, and they are a group of well-driven, fully energetic and creative individuals. So, you know, I think you got to take advantage of that.
And I think the chamber is really good about linking people to resources. So if you've got a special talent or a desire to do something different or open something new, definitely is a good reach out to Jim at the chamber to talk about the potential of that and what that looks like. That's the beauty of Vermillion is that the university and they bring in so much talent. Aside from what people do for a living, they have different talents that can really enrich the lives of all of us here.
Yeah. Speaking of the chamber, one of the events that I really, really like, and I'm surprised too, is that on Christmas time, what do you call it? The standstill parade of lights.
Yeah.
So the first year or the first time we went there, it was very small. The second year we missed it. I forgot I think they closed like at 7 or 8. Then last year it was either like perfect weather. Well, I don't know. It was perfect. For me, it was cold.
Colder in South Dakota.
Yeah. But the parade of lights, I thought, you know, especially me, I've been to like a parade of lights, but this one was really cool. It seemed way bigger than the previous one. And I saw like there was a bunch of people. There's a bunch of stuff to do. All these, you got the companies or vendors or people, you know, sharing. And this one was bigger. And that's what I was hoping. So I'm like, oh, hopefully this one gets bigger. Oktoberfest. I remember Jim talking about, he gave me the dates and for some reason I missed it. And I was like, because my wife told me, she said, hey, we just missed Oktoberfest because she likes alcohol. But I was like, no, we did it because it's right now it's September. Where Oktoberfest is in October.
Yeah.
And then I saw the dates and I was like, oh man, I missed those dates.
Well, put this on your calendar. Trick or treat. Downtown Trick or Treat is on Friday here. It starts at 4.
Okay.
So 4 to 6, I believe, people will be having tables and booths and stuff like that, handing out candy to little kids. They'll get to show off their it'll be fun.
That one I'll put that on the calendar. So now before we leave, is there any last things or last words y'all guys want to give out?
You know, I think as we speak to Grow Vermillion, I would just urge people to learn about it. Go to the VCDC website. I'm going to livevermillion.org and take a look at what our goals are. We have very measurable goals so that you know what your donation would be going to. And if you're invited to have a conversation with someone about Grow Vermillion, please take the time to listen. I think that there is some really great things happening with people that really care about this community. And if you want to be a part of that, this is a great way to be a part of that. And it can be as engaged as you want to be with it and don't need to be. But I do just urge people just to listen and hear what it's all about.
Yeah, and to kind of play off that too, we understand, economic factors and stuff like that. Things change from year to year, everything like that. Maybe a monetary donation, if that's not in the works this year, you can set up your payment schedule however you see like. But even if it's not money, you can other resources are valuable too. People spending their time to help just encourage Vermillion and continue to move it forward is just as valuable as money is. So I would just like to mention that,
Yeah, and the goal, I'm looking at it right now, 1.5 million. Hopefully they could reach it. On one thing that I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I was talking with Amy about it, about the 4-H, the 4-H club. That they wish they could, because right now where it's at, people know the area where the current 4-H building is. They always say it's very small. One thing they really, really want is like a place to have a bunch of land. That's why, like, from one of the things I used to complain about, I was like, why isn't there no rides? Well, Amy told me, she said there's no room for rides. She said if we just had like someone donate land, or if we could get this, now we could use it. And she said, hey, it could just be a year-round thing. One thing that I always thought about was, how come Vermillion doesn't have like their own, not their own, the words they're scrambled, but like one of those like festivals. I know D-Days, but I feel like that's more of a university thing, but like their own Vermillion thing. Ribs Rods is close. I think that might be the one, but also one that maybe like another one in the summer, another one in the fall. One that we went to over the weekend is Centerville. They had a fall festival. It's the second time we went there. That first time, because I was like, it's only 900 people. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
And it was huge. They had a bunch of food vendors. And they also have like vendors, good prices too. Like a bunch. They also have like a haunted house, or they turn like I think their senior community haunted to like a haunted house. But hopefully like Vermillion could do some of that stuff. Maybe the VCDC, but also the people, because like the people help organize Ribs Rods, or y'all guys help out with the parade or the standstill parade of lights, homecoming, so hopefully like people could also get involved.
I think the chamber's your first stop. If you're interested in doing something like that, they'll connect you with the appropriate people. They have all the connections already, and they'd be more than happy to help you out if you got something that you're interested in, something that you're looking to do. That's definitely your first stop. And I don't know their hours, but I'm sure they're here pretty frequently. So just stop in anytime. I believe that.
All right. Sweet. I think this is a good time to end, but I do want to thank y'all so much for being on.
Yeah. Thanks, Jose.
Thanks for having us.